Trying something different today. It's pretty good. What is up, guys? It's DJ Rick Webb here, and today's video is all about weddings. It's probably one of the most requested videos that you guys have asked me to do. I'm going to dive into a complete wedding. I'm going to talk about the timeline. We're going to talk about what happens. We're going to talk about how long things happen. And we're going to just basically go through a typical wedding so you guys get an idea of what all happens, how long it takes, and basically the whole timeline for the thing. So, let's go. Alrighty, so before we get into it, ignore the background here. My SC case is kind of torn apart right now. That's because I finally got the DBX drive rack. If you're not following me on Snapchat, I already put up there when I got this. I've already been playing around with it. And I have all the parts ordered to do the case build part 2, so that's going to be coming out soon. So, disclaimer here. My weddings take place in Northeastern Ohio. If you're not sure, here's a map. Northeastern Ohio is right there. Yes, it's not very big. So I'm on the East Coast, and I'm going to go through what a typical wedding in my area is like. Part of that disclaimer, I do not do a lot of fancy weddings in my area. It's more of suburb/rural area that I'm doing these weddings in. So don't expect any fancy stuff that I'm going to be talking about. So I got my laptop here opened up with my basic wedding reception timeline. I'm going to somehow or another link this in the description below or post it on Instagram or something. I'm going to list and look in the description below. I will explain where you can look at this. Along with this is something that I send out to brides and grooms when I'm sending them out stuff for their wedding, to fill out like their questionnaire form and stuff like that for the meetings and stuff, which we will go through in another video. I have a whole nother video planned to talk about meeting with the bride and groom prior to the wedding. What all takes place at that meeting, what all you need to discuss. So let's start it off here. First off, we're not going to start at the ceremony. Ceremonies, if you guys want to know more about ceremonies, what all goes in the ceremonies, what songs you need to get at the ceremonies, leave it down in the comment section below and I will make another video if you guys want to see that. But we're going to start at the reception. So you already got to the reception. You already set up your whole entire nice DJ rig, your setup, your speakers, your lighting and everything, and you're waiting for the people to arrive. So first thing that's going to happen, the guests are going to arrive. You're going to put on your background music, and this is probably going to go on for, typically on average in my area, anywhere from half an hour to an hour is how long I'm going to be playing background music, waiting for the bride and groom to show up with their bridal party to do introductions. Like I've said in my wedding tip video, us as DJs at weddings, we're kind of like coordinators as well, if there's no coordinator present. We need to make sure stuff's in place. So during this cocktail hour, appetizer time, I will be making announcements to inform guests of where the restrooms are at the facility, where they can go get appetizers, where they can get their drinks at, if there's any games or activities they can be playing, kids table, stuff like that. I'm announcing it once or twice to make sure as guests are arriving that they know what they can be doing in the meantime while we're waiting for the bride and groom. So this is the interesting part. There's actually like 3 things at my typical weddings that can vary in what way we do them. Those 3 things are our toasts, our cake cutting, and our first dance. All 3 of these kind of vary, and that basically is based on, do we do them before or after dinner? And it's all up to the bride and groom on which order they like to do it. I'm going to tell you the order that I have done the most and the order I always recommend to the bride and groom. And that is that we do toast, cake cutting, and then we do first dance after dinner. So now let's go back to our timeline here. We're waiting on the bride and groom to show up for introductions. Since we're doing the toast directly after introductions, I'm also going to announce to them to be sure that they have a beverage, their favorite beverage of choice, at their table waiting for toast, as we will be doing them directly following introductions. I announced that more closer to when I'm waiting on the bride and groom. So a typical announcement would be like, ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting on the bride and groom. They should be here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Immediately following those introductions, we're going to be doing toast. So if you would like to, please grab your favorite beverage of choice and have that at the table waiting to do those toasts following introductions. Thank you very much. Yes, something like that. Ugh. Along with that, we also have the cake cutting, remember. So another thing you need to make sure you do is go over and check the cake table and make sure that they have the cutting utensils, plates, napkins, and if they're doing toast, while a lot of them do the toast after they cut their cake, toast themselves, make sure there's toasting glasses and make sure they're filled. Also need to make sure that the head table, all of the toasting glasses are filled. You don't have to do it necessarily, but make sure the caterers or whoever's in charge gets that done so when introductions happen, we don't have to wait. You're a coordinator, remember this. I've preached this in my tip video, coordinator. Also, at most weddings, there is a blessing and an opening speech. You need to make sure that when the bride and groom and their family get there, or if their parents get there beforehand, make sure you talk to the dads, make sure they're ready to give their opening speeches, or whoever's giving their opening speech. Make sure the person that's giving the prayer is there. Go take one of your wireless microphones or whatever they're gonna speak on, make sure they are familiar with the microphone, how to use it. You gotta do a lot of pre-planning before the introductions happen. A lot of pre-stuff happens, and that's why a lot of times you guys never see me film at gig logs the pre-stuff, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm running around a lot, so I can't really film it. All right, now the bride and groom and all the bridal party are finally here. Now this is probably my favorite part of the night. Not really, because when the bridal party normally gets there, about 80% of the time they've been drinking, and I have to corral them into a hallway or wherever we're gonna be introducing them into and get them all in line, in order. This is a pain. I always have my bridal sheet, the list of the order. I corral them into whatever hallway, outside the door, wherever we're going, and you have to be very vocal. I've learned that over the years. I get them in the hallway and I announce very, very loudly, listen up, okay, we're gonna go through the list, blah, 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 blah. And you go through the list, make sure everyone's in the correct order, make sure they're lined up. Once you have them all in line, all ready to go, they know what they're doing, you gotta go back to your mixing console, announce to everyone, make sure everyone's at their seats, ready to go, and then you finally get to do your DJing and announce everyone in and play their music. So like I said, we're following my typical order that we go through at a wedding. So once they're introduced in, first thing that's done is an opening speech from either the dad of the bride or the dad of the groom, or both of them. I've had both of them do it. Typically it's just normally the dad of the bride that gives the speech, and once that's over, once they give their speeches, we go straight into toast. Typically, and this is just by tradition, maid of honor is first, best man is second to give their toast at the wedding. And the reason for that is because typically the maid of honor is giving the sappy speech, toast, and the best man normally gives the funny one that leaves everyone in uplifted spirits. But I've actually seen where the best man give a very sappy speech and people are crying at the end. Following the speeches, like I said, I go straight into cake cutting. Reasoning for why I like to do cake cutting at the beginning and toast at the beginning is because, like I said, when I was trying to corral all those people in the hallway, it is very hard to get the bride and groom to do anything after dinner started, because people start talking to them, they're out on the floor talking to people. It's hard to corral them back in. Doing that, getting the toast out of the way at the beginning, getting the cake cutting out at the beginning, I don't have to worry about grabbing them from whatever they're doing to go do something. First dances is a little bit easier to get them because a lot of people are waiting to get started dancing, so I can even announce typically, can I have such and such's names. That's one thing. Also, little pro tip for you guys. At weddings, try your best, your very best, to call the bride and groom by their first names, or maybe their first name and their last name. It sounds a lot more professional. It seems like you know them a lot better if you refer to them as their first name. So I send them, I announce that they're going to the cake cutting table, they head over to the cake cutting table, and typically I like to get the crowd involved at this point. Once they get the cake cut, a lot of times the photographers screw this up because they want to get that picture of them just barely with the cake in their mouth and stuff like that. Whatever, ignore that. But like, I like to announce a 3, 2, 1 countdown for them to feed each other with the cake. So that's typically what I like to do. All that normally takes, like cake, toast, all the introductions to when the cake's cut, normally 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on if anything goes wrong or if anybody's not in the right, or how long the toast speech go. It can vary anywhere from that amount of time. So now we're going to dinner, and I didn't mention this, but when they are giving the toast, a lot of times I like to run back into the kitchen or wherever the caterers are and make sure that they are ready to go for dinner. Because when I'm about ready to invite the person up to give the prayer for dinner, I want to make sure that the caterers are ready to go. It makes you look a lot better if you go check on people beforehand. Also, another little pro tip for you guys, always, videographers, caterers, photographers, photo booth people, all the vendors that are at the weddings, always give them a timeline and also notify them before you're doing stuff. A lot of them you don't really need to notify for everything, but like always notify the photographer when you're about to do something. They really appreciate that, and that really helps you build a connection with other vendors. You can give your business cards out to them, and you can work together to book gigs and refer people to you. So an average wedding of 200 people, dinner's gonna take normally about an hour and a half total. Another pro tip for you guys, if you guys are the ones that get asked to dismiss tables, a lot of times the caterers don't want to dismiss tables because they're lazy, I don't know why. But I always volunteer to dismiss tables. Another one of those things that makes you look good to all the vendors. You're always going to dismiss the head table first, bride and grooms first with all the bridal party, and then dismiss the reserve tables. If you don't know what the reserve tables are, ask about it, and normally it's just the family of the bride and the groom. They're normally the reserve tables. Dismiss them first. So once the majority of people are done eating, typically the bride and groom will finish first, like I said. They're gonna be out and about, probably socializing with people. Once majority, like half of the crowd to like 3/4 of the crowd is done eating, I like to steal the bride and groom and get them up there to do their first dance. Now, once I invite them up, you start the first dance song, and then while the first dance is going on, I go and get the father of the bride and make sure he's ready to do the father-daughter dance. And then while the father-daughter dance is going on, I tell the groom to go get his mother and make sure they're ready for the mother-son dance. And now, after that is over, we have the option of going straight into open dancing, or we can go into games. And if you guys, I made a video a long time ago, not with this high quality camera I got now, but I talked about how to get the dancing started, and I talk about the games and stuff that are done at weddings to get people up on the dance floor dancing. I'm gonna link that video right there. I talk about all the games and stuff, so I'm not gonna go into this, but you have like the dollar dance. I don't think I mentioned the shoe game, but the shoe game is a typical game they play at weddings now. You got the anniversary dance. You got the couples tunnel. That's a big one now that's catching on. There's a lot of games and stuff you can do to get the people dancing. I also talk about some songs that work really well to get people dancing. So now we're into dancing. We've gone through all the fun little games and stuff like that. The only thing that's left to do is to do the garter removal and the bouquet toss. So typically, I always write down that we try to do this half an hour into open dancing. So half an hour into open dancing, we're gonna announce that we're gonna do the bouquet and garter removal. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have the bride sit down on a chair, and the groom is going to do the garter removal. Immediately after that, we're gonna do the garter toss. Following that, we're gonna do the bouquet toss. Both times you're inviting all the single guys up and the single girls up for their courting dances. And then once that's over, it's finally open dancing the rest of the night until you're basically, no one's dancing anymore or you're done being paid. And then the night's over. And that is when you will be doing your last dance. Always ask the bride and groom what their last dance song will be. As you guys have seen in my gig logs in the past, I always like to bring the bride and groom up on the dance floor, ask everyone else to make a circle around them, and we do the last dance that way. About midway into the song, I invite everyone to join in with the bride and groom, and basically it's a nice send-off like that. So that was just a little detailed overview of everything that goes into a wedding timeline. Lastly, just gonna go through a quick rundown of all of the times, so the amount of time it's going to take. People will start arriving half an hour to an hour in. You're going to do introduction. Once you do introductions that you're gonna feed into toast or whatever you're doing, that's gonna take like 15 minutes. Dinner is going to take anywhere from normally an hour to an hour and a half. After dinner, you're going to do your first dance, your second dance, and your third dance. That's going to be about 15 minutes. And following that, you have open dancing / games. If you're doing a bunch of games, that could take anywhere from 15 minutes all the way up to a half an hour of games. And then you have open dancing for another half an hour. And then you have the Garter and Bouquet removal. And then you have however much time afterwards until you do the last dance. A typical wedding in my area runs about 5 hours from the point that people arrive till the very end of the last dance. And I think I covered everything. If you happen to catch that I missed anything, or if the timeline varies in your area, I know out on the West Coast they do a lot differently. They tend to do the first dance before dinner a lot. So if anything is different than you, or if you think I missed something, leave it down in the comment section below. Let's get a nice discussion going on there involving weddings, wedding timelines, and stuff like that. Also, if you guys want me to talk about ceremonies, leave that down in the comment section below. And also, if you have any questions, comments, and concerns for the future video that I'm going to be doing on client meetings, bride and groom meetings, also leave that down in the comment section below. I would like to get a nice conversation on weddings going in the comment section below. Like I said earlier, the case build part 2 is going to be coming very soon. Everything should be here. Today is actually Saturday. Everything I should be here to be doing this project Monday, and hopefully I'll be able to film that and do that throughout next week. And then hopefully you guys will see that in about 2 weeks. Other than that, guys, if you have any video ideas as well, I'm open for new video ideas. Leave it down in the comment section below. I currently am down in North Carolina. If you haven't caught in the past videos, I'm down in North Carolina, down here for my co-op / internship for the summer. And all I have down here right now is my SE case, one PRX 712. I'm currently working on trying to get into a few clubs or bars down here, so hopefully we can get some footage of that. Anyways, hope this video was helpful for you guys. If it was helpful, please leave a like on this video. Hit that thumbs up button down there. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button, join to be part of this almost 5,000 subscriber club thing we got going here. Anyways, guys, my name is DJ Rick Webb. Keep the record spinning, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. Boom. Kickstart. Spiked edition.